Hello everyone, welcome to WD18, the Watford fan channel. Welcome to another edition of Sunday Night with Shane. A really interesting one. It's been one win, one defeat for Watford in the past week. We're going to be dissecting both games here on tonight's show. Of course, as always, we're joined by the legend, that is Mr. Shane-O, Mr. Hornet Shane, whatever you want to call him. Shane, how's your week been?
It's been good. It's been all right, actually. It's we go on about it all the time, don't we? There's so much football at the moment. This week has been no different, is it? Us playing midweek, the European football, another packed schedule today, another packed schedule yesterday as well. It's been good. Games, as I say, coming relentless at us, and it's about being fresh. It's about being as focused as we possibly can. And I think we've seen this week in particular with us, we've seen two very different matches, haven't we? I think kind of just starting off, just talking a little bit about the Blackburn game. It was another hard-fought win in Lancashire again, wasn't it? Really,
Yeah. Which we haven't seen a lot of over the years.
Yeah,
not in the Northwest.
No, exactly. But actually, it was quite interesting. We talk about the fixture schedules and everything. And I kind of noticed it that we played last week, midweek, Preston in Lancashire. We're playing Blackburn again. Wouldn't it have been easier just to have played the Friday night in Lancashire as opposed to the Derby match and put Derby midweek on Wednesday or something? That's just something I thought of. I was like, we're making another pointless journey, aren't we? Really?
But it means another cycling
bizarre.
GK vlog, mate. That's the main thing.
That is literally. One of the things that I genuinely have enjoyed actually about this period, I will just mention Ben Foster. I think he's slowly getting himself back to fitness again. And I will use this moment now to plug the channel as a whole. If you've not seen the Daniel Batman interview, you absolutely should go and watch it. It was fantastic. Really fantastic interview from you guys. And, I want to start off with this. Actually, I was going to say something about this actually towards the end, but we can all agree, I think, from the off that our game yesterday wasn't fantastic, for a number of reasons and all that. But what was great to see was Sky commentary mentioning the two legends that are Don Goodman and Gary Weaver, mentioning the channel, mentioning our interview with Batman. That was just fantastic yesterday. That actually kind of was a surreal moment, I think, from the first set of fan cams that we did. I've sent you a message about this earlier on in the week and everything, but from the very first fan cam we did to where the channel is now, it's just absolutely fantastic. And yesterday actually summed it up in that moment, from, as I say, doing fan cams, doing the transfer window video, standing outside the Vic in August, pouring with rain and being Jack Rodwell and nothing more. It was those times and, doing all the previews and everything, really kind of getting up for the matches to that moment yesterday, watching the game, early on in the game, full of optimism. But that moment was, I think, a crowning moment, I think, on the channel. For me, we talk about landmark moments we have done on the channel. For me, that was a big one. Yesterday, unfortunately,
it was partnered with
that was the
with a defeat
positive of the game yesterday. I think we will obviously go on to talk about that in a little bit, but I wanted to start off chronologically on the Tuesday night. Was it Tuesday? No, Wednesday night.
Wednesday night against Blackburn.
As I said at the top, a week with two very different performances from Watford. We ground out the game in midweek. I personally thought we looked very comfortable in that first half, 2-0 up, cruising. João Pedro with one of the best improvised goals I think I've seen, lobbing the keeper. It's outrageous technique. That really was outrageous. I saw some fans saying, he was a bit lucky to get it, but that's not luck. That's an incredible amount of skill to go into that. We went 1-0 up. We doubled the lead start from 2 yards out. We were looking very, very comfortable in the game and, looking forward to half time, looking forward to, a cup of tea or whatever. But then ultimately I should just point out, I didn't have a cup of tea. I'm just saying, it's just one of these things that I hear, but very frustrating to give that goal away. Harvey Elliott, Adam Messina, man, just clear the ball. I shouted several times, just clear the ball. No, clear the ball. Again, clear the ball. And I just didn't do it. And that was a little bit to our detriment in some respects because Blackburn came out the better side in the second half. They were really putting us under the cosh. They had a spring in their step. They smelt blood, I guess. And we got, again, fantastic bit of breakaway play. João Pedro, great ball from him to find Ken Summer to make it 3-1. Yes, I thought to myself, it's another 3 point, cruising to victory here. nothing's going to stop us now. Of course, something's going to stop us because it is Watford Football Club, and we know we never make it easy for ourselves, do we? And that, oh God, I mean that set piece situation, horrible moment. I mean, oh my God, I could feel it. I could almost feel it coming as well, really, from the set piece. I think that's what makes it worse. Really, is the fact that I've got very little confidence in how we defend the set pieces. I don't know whose fault it was. I heard a few people saying it was Wilmot. I didn't really want to watch it back because I'd have died of just shame, frankly, from the whole thing, because it was just a calamity, absolute calamity. They pull a goal back, and ultimately it's panic stations again. The heart rate's going high. Blackburn pulled off a great save towards the end. And another night, we maybe could have drawn the game. Similar to the Derby game as well. We rode our luck at times. The Derby game was a bit different. They, of course, had a goal disallowed. There was none of that, but it very easily could have just switched the other way for us, couldn't it? And Blackburn could have walked away with a draw, and a draw that they may well have maybe even deserved on the balance of play in that second half. We again, I find us a little bit slow sometimes on the road, and it's a point that you lads made on the match review last night. If we don't score the first goal, we really do struggle. We've seen it plenty of times. And even sometimes when we do score the first goal, we still seem to struggle. We've got to cut out some of the poor defending from set pieces. We're very lucky. The last two matches, Derby and Blackburn, it hasn't really cost us, but it will cost us. There will come a point whereby we are 1-0 up and cruising, and we'll lose the game. We'll potentially draw a game that we were fully in control of, and that's kind of my biggest frustration. I guess one of the things I kind of took away from the game against Blackburn was two things really. The first one was our defence in Trusty-Kong and Messina. Trusty-Kong, I thought, had an absolute shocker on Wednesday night. I felt for him though. I genuinely did. I like the guy. And it was, I think, slightly worrying sometimes. At times I see Trusty-Kong as a very composed player. I see him as someone who is quite level-headed, but he was all over the place on Wednesday night. Messina as well, I thought was another one, and there were a lot of question marks about him going into the weekend, and a lot of question marks about him actually after the game yesterday, really. But we ultimately got the win, and the win was the most important thing. And we were all smiles on Wednesday, getting
and then we moved on to the weekend.
Absolutely up for the game on Saturday. But you know what, mate? I said this at the very start of when we started doing these. When we were reviewing the month after the Coventry game.
Yeah.
Yesterday's game was the biggest. A gigantic.
You did say that, yeah. If you watched the Sunday
game.
Night with Shane, you did say that multiple times.
It was fantastic. It's great to get wins against Blackburn and half-fought wins against Derby and Preston and all that. Although let's be honest, Preston were really in their game. We kind of just finished it off when we had to. But so many problems with yesterday.
Shane, let's dissect it. As you said, it was a positive result on Wednesday night. At times, it was nervy. I think we have to admit Blackburn had some really good opportunities, and they did look dangerous going forward. And we were clinical with our chance, and it was 3 goals from open play. We then moved on to Saturday, and we spoke to Sam Davies from Back of the Net, the Bournemouth podcast, and he was very negative, very downhearted, downbeat heading into the game, which ultimately actually made me more nervous for it, because I was thinking, right, Bournemouth in the past have turned up when they're down, similar to Watford. And they turn up against certain teams, and they've always decided to turn up against Watford. And it again felt like that. It was fair play to them in the sense that it was gritty, it was determined. It wasn't I don't think it was a spectacle by any stretch. But from a Watford perspective, where did it go wrong on Saturday for you, Shane? Where did we lose a little bit of what we've seen in the previous 4 games?
I'll be honest with you. I kind of took what I saw the preview you guys did. It was great to hear Sam's thoughts on Bournemouth. You're right. I was very nervous. Having watched the preview, I was very nervous. But there's a reason why I was nervous. For a Bournemouth fan, I'm not slating them in any way here, but for a Bournemouth fan to come out and say, all Watford have to do is turn up and beat, and is to just turn up. Turn up and you'll win. The podcast that he's part of, the Back of the Net, we're in the chat as well, saying it's fine because Bournemouth will turn up at 1:30 as opposed to 12:30. And that's the general mood that they had going into the game. Now, I think there was a little bit of false expectation there, because listening to him, it was like, oh my God, it's doom and gloom. It's like the end of the world for them. And knowing the form that we're in, knowing the front 3 that we have, the pace, the devastation that they can cause defences, I was sitting there thinking, whilst I was a little bit nervous, I was like, yeah, but if we can get at this back line, If we can get this back line, oh my God, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be great. They're really low on confidence. But Bournemouth are one of those sides that turn up for the big matches, and they turned up against us. What do I think went wrong? So many things went wrong for us. I personally wasn't particularly happy with one of the starters in the side. I'll be honest with you. I've mentioned it last week. Craig Cathcart for me. I don't know what he's doing. In not so much the match day squad. I can get he's in the team. I can understand that he's a part of the whole squad. But I don't understand why he's starting matches. Tristicon gets dropped. Fair enough, because he wasn't very good in midweek. I'll be totally honest with that. I can absolutely understand that change. Absolutely, I can. Chalobah coming back in again. Absolutely understand that change as well. But what I don't understand is if we're trying to foster, as you said last week, Ben Wilmot is the future of this football club. So why is he not starting at centre back? Why is he not the next man that they're now looking to? We can all sit there and say, and I absolutely agree, Sirialta for me right now is undroppable. And you guys mentioned it yesterday in the match review. It's going to be about finding someone to partner Sirialta. But as one of the comments said last night, swapping the centre backs is suicidal, and it was suicidal. Cathcart, I mean, look, I'm sorry, there will be a lot of stick going towards Blackburn for that. I think Blackburn should have done better at his near post, absolutely. But Cathcart is nowhere near Arnaut Danjuma for that. I mean, all right, we can go into how the free kick came about. It's happened. Let's analyse the piece of play when the ball's actually played forward. Cathcart's nowhere near Danjuma. You need to be on it. A quick free kick, you've got to be on it. You've got to know what Bournemouth are about. The minute, as I say, no matter how that free kick came about, they took it long. You should be on it. You're a centre-back. Be on it. Why are you not on it? Cathcart, that really annoyed me yesterday.
It felt like there was a little bit of a miscommunication, misunderstanding between Kiko and Cathcart, and it was in that corridor of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Now, what it goes back to, Shane, though, is what you mentioned about rotating the centre backs, and yes, we're incredibly strong in that area, but why does he keep rotating it? Because incidents like yesterday, I personally believe, and I don't know what you think on this, those sort of incidents happen when there isn't consistency with the two centre backs, because it's the relationship with the full backs, there's a relationship with the other centre back.
I think it's quite a tough one, because I feel like in a weird kind of way, Xisco's maybe he's in a bit of a lose position here, because we all, I came out after the Blackburn game and said, Trusticon, I don't think he was great. Maybe Xisco saw it. He wasn't great. I kind of need to change things up. Maybe give him a game out, etc. I called out a lot of lethargy on Wednesday night. I thought and I noticed it again on Saturday. I think the amount that we've been playing, the Wednesday night, Saturday lunchtime kind of turnaround, I think that's a huge turnaround. Having watched Ben Foster's vlog earlier on today, the team didn't get back until Thursday morning, about 1:30. They went back at the airport. Actually flying back again, and that's tough. You might be a fit professional footballer, etc. We can all talk about the perks of the job, but there is no perk of a job getting back at 1:30 in the morning and feeling absolutely rubbish again the next day. You know what I mean? And I think that has played a part in it. The problem I have right now is, I think an even bigger problem for me is the fact that Ben Wilmot isn't currently getting a look in. He's making sub appearances off the bench. He came on against Blackburn. Fine, okay. But that's a bit of a worry for me. I look at this man as the future of our football club, the future of that centre-back role. I think our strongest centre-back pairing for me right now is Sirialta and Wilmot.
I was going to ask you that, Shane. Is that it for you, those two?
Yeah, it's got to be those two. I like Tristicon. Don't get me wrong. I feel like there's going to be a spot for Kabasele, kind of maybe moving forward. I feel like those two are very much backup kind of options at the moment. And I think we need to kind of settle on a centre-back pairing. We've been very lucky down the years. When we were in the Premier League, we had Prodel and Britos. We've had, Kabul, etc. kind of coming in there. But it's been quite a stable kind of backline. Kabasele came in. He's been kind of in the back, in the back four with Cathcart as well. So they've been able to foster some sort of a communication, an understanding with each other. You're not going to get an understanding if you're swapping out players every single week. Sirialta has played the majority since he's come in. When he was rested, you've had Cathcart come in. It's been Cathcart and it's been Wilmot. It's been Cathcart and Trusticon. It's been Wilmot and Trusticon. It's been Sirialta and Trusticon.
Do you understand why he's rotating it, Shane?
Not particularly, no. I think if someone's had an absolute howler, or if they are genuinely tired, as I said last week, if Sirialta comes out and says, "Boss, Gaffer, I need a rest.
Yeah.
I need a rest. I'm exhausted. I need a rest." Fine, do that then. I don't think it should really be done, you know. And I think as Backman actually even made the point in our interview with him that, you know, he maybe doesn't feel the need to potentially be rested. You know, he's not working as hard, I think, as he said, as the outfield players, and they run through brick walls every single week. What with the schedule as it is, but I was disappointed with that. I think at the start of the game, first half, absolutely nothing happened. To be honest with you, for us, a good ball came in, I think, from Sarr. One thing I noticed as well about Sarr, I think there was a lot of talk about the front three yesterday. Sarr, for me, was not making in as many runs right down to the far touchline, right down to the byline. He needs to carry the ball forward. He wasn't doing it. He was stopping short.
Why do you think that was, Shane? What do you put that down to? Was it the way Bournemouth set up, or was it the way we didn't really maybe just unleash him a little bit more?
I don't think he was. I think there was a little bit of. I think there was a bit of both there. I don't think we unleashed him enough. I think there was maybe a little bit of tiredness creeping in there with him. I kind of felt like he wasn't in his mind. He was like, I can't keep on doing this every single attack. I can't keep going. Oh my god, kind of thing. If he had started to do that a little bit more, maybe we would have got slightly luckier. I thought the Bournemouth defence marshalled João Pedro pretty well though yesterday. There were moments, you know, I think he had one chance, I think, in the first half, whereby I think Esmir Begovic kind of just gathered the ball very quickly. You can see the fact that he was a threat there. But I thought the front three as a whole, Sarr was probably our most dangerous player. And that's saying something because he could have been more dangerous, but wasn't really. Ken Semmer on the left, I thought he really struggled. He struggled in midweek, and in all fairness, he did get the goal. I completely understand that. You know, it was great for him to get on the score sheet. Great to see all the GOAT memes as well in midweek because I really miss those.
Shane, I just wanted to jump in there with the front three. It was discussed quite a lot after the Bournemouth game. Do you think it's a case of just these players now are shattered? You know, we mentioned the schedule with the Blackburn game. Is it just a case that they are burnt out and they need a rest? They
need an international break, to be quite honest with you. Although I say all of that, we don't know how many of those players are actually going to be playing in an international break. You know, that's a separate hurdle that I'm sure we'll discuss in the not so distant future. But I feel like they do need a bit of a break. I think the one thing about João Pedro getting his second yellow card and a red is the fact that he will get himself a rest, and it definitely speaks volumes when a player has been red carded for your team and you found a positive about it. Because normally, to be honest with you, if a player gets sent off, I'm very angry about it. But actually, I was like, oh, yeah, it's going to get the midweek off, innit? Good. And I can't believe I even said that. I was like, oh my God, have I actually just said that about a player? I'm happy the fact that they got sent off. But actually, yeah, because he looked shattered. You know, he made very few inroads. Second half, more of the same, really. I'll be honest with you. But the one thing I noticed, and the one thing that's really got me quite annoyed sitting here this evening, is Cisco's game management. I know it's been mentioned a lot. I completely understand that, but for me, oh dear,
was it substitutions?
You're 1-0, yeah. You know, you're 1-0 down in a game. Okay, fine. What changes are you going to make? Chalobah's on a yellow card. He looked like he was going to explode and take on half of that Bournemouth midfield on his own. Fair enough, because it was a frustrating afternoon for him. He was getting pushed and pulled all over the place. There were a lot of, you know, what I like to call Championship Sunday League kind of tackles going in there. It was gritty. It was a.
Shane, where did you play the Sunday League?
Sorry?
Did you play Sunday League? Do you play Sunday League?
Yeah. Where
do you play, mate?
I was mostly up front.
Nice.
I was mostly up front. Yeah,
what type of striker would you be?
To be honest with you, what kind of striker? Or...
Yeah, what type? If you had to pick one Watford striker to liken yourself to, who would it be?
I would say I've got the body physique of Mickey Quinn and the ability of Nathan Ellington. So there you go. I'd love to say Marlon King or Troy, but I can't really. You know, doing myself. I'll be conning myself for like the rest of like.
What was your go-to celebration? Now we're on the subject. We might as well delve deeper into.
Do you know something that really annoyed people as well? I remember, and I did it at school as well. I remember we played it was like an inter-school kind of like derby match or something, and the team that we were playing were just absolute knobheads, right? And I'll be honest with you, I scored. It was like about 85th minute or something, right? It wasn't a penalty, obviously, because I couldn't score penalties back then. But like, I remember doing it, right? And all the parents from the opposition were there, and like their school teachers were there, right? And I remember scoring. I slid down and I went like this in front of myself. I actually got. I'll be very honest with you. I actually got in trouble as well for doing that because
did it? What, inciting the crowd? Inciting the away
basically, yeah. And I saw a couple of the mums there being like, "Oh, boo, boo, boo," and I was like, "Yeah, come on." Yeah, that was a brilliant day. I'll be honest with you. That was a brilliant day. They could have done with some of my goading, to be honest with you.
Mate, I think you would have kicked off if that happened yesterday.
But there were no fans, right? But there were no fans.
Yeah, true.
And the point there, right, is that actually I kind of thought about this yesterday. Been like, yesterday's game, the one thing that would have really added even more of an edge to it if there'd been fans there. Can you imagine us being there yesterday? Oh, I'd have thrown myself onto the pitch, to be honest with you. At the end of that massive brawl as well, which I'm sure we will get onto in a bit. But as I talk about in regards to game management, Cisco taking Chalobah off, fair enough. All right, he was going to probably get himself sent off. Bringing on Gosling, who was in the thick of it as well when he came on. Taking off Adam Messina, for me, whilst he played poorly, I thought was actually a wrong decision. I'm not sure Lazar actually offered it a fat lot, really, when he came on. For me, Messina's selection is done, as far as I'm concerned. Thank you, by the way, to
Caroline. Big up.
One absolute legend.
Caroline, thanks so much for the support. Thank you. Top stuff.
But as I said, in Messina, his selection's been done. You need to focus now. We're 1-0 down. Forget about the defence. How are we going to go and win the game? How are we going to pick open that defence? And I'm sitting there, and again, Stipe Perizza. I worry about Stipe Perizza. As much as I worry about Ben Wilmot, I worry about Stipe. Because right now, we've been going on about how he's one of the best strikers at the club. I think for now, he's definitely the second choice that we've got there, maybe behind Zhao. That's
he's
not
got
really been reflected.
Now, hasn't he, Shane, in midweek?
Well, you see, this is kind of my point, right? Because is he going to get the opportunity in midweek, or is it going to be handed to Andre Gray? Because for me, it should be Stipe. For me, Stipe Perizza should start in midweek. Wickham, I think, will easily pick off Andre, if I'm being totally honest with you. And I think he'll struggle. Stipe must start. But why are you bringing this man on 8 minutes from the end? We're 1-0 down. What is he going to do in 8 minutes? He actually had half a chance as well. That's what makes it even worse. If he'd brought him on 20 minutes earlier, 62, 63 minutes, maybe even before they go a goal down, even before we go a goal down, we actually could engineer something back into it. And you've got Philip Zinckernagel sitting there, and he's, as you've said, everyone said it already, he's giving me massive Steven Berghaus vibes already, because he's going to be a great guy. I mean, a guy who got, how many assists was last season? 16 assists last season. And he's not even getting onto the pitch.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly, but he was in the top 10 goal contributions in
Something's very wrong though with that, isn't it? And I'm having a bit of a guess as to what it could be. Is it a case now of...
Is it just about betting him in, do you think?
I don't think it's that though. I genuinely don't think it's that. He trains every week. He trains on grass every week. I think the whole grass thing is a really kind of late.
No, in terms of maybe the championship culture, we mentioned about the fixture schedule, Shane. I mean, it is a. No. I think you're going to disagree regardless, but it does feel like.
I love you, mate, so much. But I'm starting to genuinely. I'm genuinely now starting to think Cisco Munoz doesn't rate him. He doesn't rate him. When you need something different from the front three, and you're looking at Ken, who looks so lethargic yesterday, why not give Zinc 20 minutes, 25 minutes at the end, half an hour? Man, we're 1-0 down. What's the worst that's going to happen? It doesn't work out for him, but you need to look as if you're going to change things. It was flat, to be honest with you. The front three were flat yesterday. Why were they flat? It's because they're shattered. They were absolutely shattered. And when they were calling out for some help, calling out for some creativity, a boost, a spark, it didn't happen. The spark and the boost came from a massive fight at the end where everyone was clearly up for it. But was anyone actually up for, trying to find a route back into the game? We only had one shot on target yesterday, man. 63% possession.
I think that actually came in the 57th minute. It was Cleverly. Yeah,
Cleverly should have buried that, by the way. I've watched it back. I didn't think so at the time, but I watched back the highlight. I thought, you should be burying that, man.
Do you think that was the turning point, Shane? That chance?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. And I genuinely thought after that moment, I thought we are not going to get a better chance in this game. And I was absolutely right. We didn't have another shot on target. João Pedro had one flash pass. Sarr, again, Don Goodman made mention of this as well in commentary. Don Goodman, Ismail Sarr went to the near post as opposed to the far post. And I think Don Goodman said that's just inexperience from him. He should be looking to find the back post, is actually what he said. And instead he found the near post. Begovic saves. And Bournemouth then went about their business of trying to break up the game, and they did that incredibly well. But what they did yesterday, how Bournemouth acted towards the end, and I will touch on this, is it's not
we've got a few comments on it. I think it's probably. Do you want to keep it clean, Shane? I think that's the only thing with it.
Yes, you are live on Channel 4. Please do not swear.
Tell you what, Shane, before you get into it, let's have a little read through the comments as we're about halfway through. Shano says how it is. Thank you to everyone who's watched at the moment. Mike says, love watching Gosling get stuck in against his old club. We'll have a little talk about it in a moment.
That was fantastic.
I
love Gosling.
And Gakia and Wilmot, I would love to see start. Stipe, Sema and Sol be an interesting combination, says Charlotte.
Yeah, that will be, absolutely.
Stipe, Sema, interesting comment. Cisco doesn't rate PZ7 given he was a winger himself in his playing days. Top two still possible. Zinchenko was another player that needs game time. So Shano, I think people are asking about this whole. It did really kick off. I think it kind of kicked off from that Chalobah incident, which actually led to the goal. I mean, the decision for that to get reversed when it was our free kick, and then the referee reversed it to the other way, doesn't make any sense, right? No. What did you make of the boiling over of the game? What did you make of the whole situation at the end? It'd be interesting to get your thoughts on that. And do you think actually some we haven't really talked about this, but do you think we were a little bit naive in the way that we kind of, Bournemouth hung the stick out, hung the carrot out, and we did take it.
Yeah, we did. The first thing I checked, of course, when the fight happened was whether or not my TV box was switched over to BT Sport 1, and I was showing the WWE. The SmackDown wrestling, to be honest with you, because I wasn't too sure. If I'm being brutally honest with you, I have no idea what happened in that moment. I saw a lot of the comments on social media. I actually saw Elliot's tweet, and he was like, "What?" with 2 exclamation marks. I was like, "Yeah, it was just that bizarre. I had no idea what was happening." No, I think we'll start off with the first incident. Chalobah was being climbed upon by Jefferson Lerma. There's absolutely no doubt about that. The referee has given a free kick to us. That has been confirmed. He gave the free kick to us. Fine, it's a Watford, free kick. Lerma, I'm not even sure. I don't even think Lerma actually got a yellow card for that, which I think actually personally he should have done. He was all over Chalobah. Then some sort of issue kind of arrayed, and the Bournemouth players, they love to do, sort of surrounding the referee, trying to make some sort of like small melee and all that out of it. Linesman comes over, has a quick chat with the referee, then all of a sudden, the incident has kind of been given the opposite way. Of course, Bournemouth then go off and score from that. We're all incensed about it. I genuinely couldn't understand it. But then you put that behind you, and it's about kind of moving forward in the game. But the touch paper was very much lit, wasn't it? I mean, towards the end of that game, it kind of started off, I think, with João Pedro and Lerma going in. I thought that was a yellow card for Pedro. I thought that was a very late challenge from him. Lerma going down like a sack of spuds, really. And the Chalobah incident as well. Let's be clear. Lerma has smacked out at Chalobah. Chalobah has smacked out at him, but Lerma goes down as if he's been shot or something. I could actually hear it as well. While I was watching it yesterday, I could actually hear the scream as well that he let out. It was as if he'd been shot. I was like, what? It was so bizarre to see. Ultimately, then things started to boil over. Pedro was then shown a second yellow and a red. A lot of people have had a bit of an issue with that incident. But what I have noticed is, whilst Pedro did fall, he seemed to slip into Lerma to enable to get his yellow card. What people actually might not see is, as he's clattered into the player, he's also stuck out a leg, a very little leg. It's very minor, but he has lit out a leg. The referee was actually walking past it, saw the leg, and stopped play, and that's what kind of caused it. So for me, listen, with João, he's very hot-headed. You could tell it was kind of getting to him. I think the frustration of the match.
Plays on the edge, doesn't he? Plays on
the edge. The minimal service, the minimum chance he had. I don't even think he had a shot on target yesterday. Well, he can't have done. And I think that kind of boiled over.
Do you think
He's
we were
out for
naive, Shane? You mentioned game management from Cisco. From us as a squad, did we really kind of fall into the Bournemouth trap a little bit? Because I mean,
Yeah, we
they
did.
were. Yeah. Sorry, go on,
But
man.
we knew what they were going to do. Lerma was there to wind us up. Lerma was there to wind up Chalobah. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, Chalobah fell for it. I'm a bit disappointed actually with Chalobah. We can all we can all come out and criticise Lerma as much as we want to. I think that's fair to do so because his play acting was appalling. Some of the stuff I've seen though towards Jefferson Lerma is crossing a line, and there's been a lot of stuff I've seen in the last 24 hours or so. A lot of racist abuse from some of our supporters, which I am now going to come out and say is absolutely unacceptable. Death threats as well, unacceptable. That's not how we do things as a football club. I think that's absolutely outrageous. And if you're one of those people that's doing that and you're watching this stream, seriously, you need to fix up. That's not the way in which we go about it. By all means, be absolutely incandescent with what Lerma did. And I was. But there's a line that you don't cross. And it's all, there have been lots and lots of other problems as well. I'm hearing rumours that apparently Diego Rico and Andre Gray apparently came to blows. There's
that's very much a rumour, isn't it? Yeah.
But there's actually clips of Andre Gray kind of, he was, I think Bournemouth actually had his arm round Kiko. Andre's going in there and punching him in the face. There is a whole amount of stuff. And even today, Adam Leventhal come out and said the FA and Tony Harrington, the referee, the match will actually be under some sort of investigation. I think the FA and the EFL are actually going to look into it because there's a lot of stuff in there to dissect, a lot of stuff that maybe wasn't punished. Chalobah, as I say, I'm a little bit disappointed with. He took the bait, but he's had this experience before. I remember when we beat them 2-0 with Capoue and Richarlison's goals. I think Chalobah was under there was some sort of little bit of malice between him and Harry Arter. I think a ball kind of came in to him. Chalobah was told, he heard the shout to leave it. It was actually Harry Arter telling Chalobah to leave the ball, conning an opposition player. It runs within that team. They knew that they could rattle us. They did rattle us. And we ended up leaving that game feeling incredibly rattled. Because ultimately, look, if we'd got a draw in that game, if it was 1-1, it all kicked off. All right, it's a point gain. God, man, that was a scrappy game. Let's just take the point and get out of here with as fewer problems as possible. But I'll be honest with you, some of the conduct from the players we bit, and I mean badly. Pedro got sent off. Oh, okay, fine, he's been sent off. But then the brawl that ensued afterwards was just nothing short. I would go as far as saying nothing short of absolutely embarrassing. To be honest with you, I was sitting there, I was watching, I was thinking, oh my god, like what have we done now? Because we've absolutely bitten. We have bitten, haven't we? And Bournemouth will go away. They'll be very happy. It's 3 big points for them. Jonathan Woodgate, his expression at full time, letting out a huge Lions roar. It was a big 3 points. And I'm sure there's a lot of angry people after that. But
in terms of where we go now, Shane,
we need to fix up the disciplinary side of things. I think, our record against the top 6 is nothing to write home about. It's actually a very, very poor record. We need to stop getting into petty fights. We actually need to stop pulling our socks up a little bit because it was an unnecessary defeat yesterday. But I will say about the incident, I thought Lerma was, just he was playing on the edge. He ultimately stuck out a carrot, and we absolutely bit his hand off. And at the end of the day, no matter which way you kind of look at it, we were rattled by it. Us as fans were rattled by it. The players were rattled by it, and ultimately we've just got to move on. But very unsavoury scenes, and not the kind of stuff you really want to see. Finishing watching that game yesterday, I kind of sat there and thought to myself, that was a deeply unpleasant game to watch. The 12:30 games are never brilliant, but yesterday's game for me, watching that, I was like, I'm almost glad that game's over. To be honest with you, because we were goaded, and there's no excuse for that kind of violence. And that might come across as being a little bit soft maybe on Bournemouth, but they've run away with the 3 points. If things were different, if we had maybe won it 1-0 and that all kind of broke out, we'd be having a very different opinion on things. If it was not Lerma doing all the winding up, and if it was, I don't know, Chalobah doing the winding up, if we'd had Troy playing, I know Troy would have been well up for the fight, let's be honest. If he was doing some of the goading towards the Bournemouth defenders, we'd be having a very different argument now. That's how Bournemouth played the game. They got the 3 points. We need to move on, but we need to fix up disciplinary-wise. It's not ideal now, missing Chalobah for the next 2 matches. The one good thing about that, again, is because there's a week between Nottingham Forest at home and Cardiff away. He's now got 2 weeks off, Chalobah. 2 weeks to basically get a rest. And as they mentioned in Sky's commentary yesterday, he's had a great season for us. I felt like the occasion maybe got slightly on the wrong side of him yesterday. Gosling, fantastic to see him going in there, really kind of battling. His reaction to Lerma, I think, sums up the entire afternoon, doesn't it? He knew exactly the kind of players he was coming up against. He knew exactly what the likes of Lerma and Jack Wilshere were like. And, ultimately, he was professional enough to kind of walk away from the situation. I know in the first tackle and in the first instance, he kind of walked away, didn't give any kind of a second's thoughts. Maybe Gosling should have maybe had I don't know if he would have done, maybe had a chat with the guys beforehand and say, look, this is how they're going to play. Maybe there was a chat like that, but in the heat of the moment, 1-0 down, the sun's shining, your heart's beating, the sweat's pouring off your face, and you're losing 1-0 in a very scrappy game. The occasion maybe got the better of us, and I thought we bit, frankly. We really did bite, and unfortunate. In answer to your question, where do we go now?
Yeah, I'll just jump in there, Shay. Yeah, where do we go from here? Because we got to be balanced with it. We had a brilliant result against Blackburn. We had a disappointing result, and it was a below par performance. I thought against Bournemouth, it could have been a lot better. Where do we go now? Because we look ahead at the next week or so. We got 2 games for our next episode with Shane. We've got Wycombe at home, 2 home games. Wycombe at home, and then Nottingham Forest at home. And Nottingham Forest have improved recently with the addition of Glenn Murray and James Garner. They've certainly improved. But Wycombe, with the suspensions of Chalobah and João Pedro, 2 home games with our home form being absolutely impeccable, arguably one of the best in the division, if not the country at the moment, with 38 points out of 16 games. So we like to think we're favourites in both of those games, but it seems a little bit easier on paper than it could be, Shano. It's short, as we mentioned, the title is really now time for a reaction, isn't it? And getting back to winning ways as quickly as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing that, again, we talk about Wycombe, they're at the foot of the table, but they've been picking up points recently. They beat Reading away in midweek last week, in what was a huge shock result for them and a massive shock result for Reading, I'm sure. But the next 2 matches are massive. Yep, we're back at the Vic. We love being at the Vic. We're playing on a carpet. It's fantastic. It's great. We need to make that advantage count. We need to negotiate this week with 2 wins and 6 points. It is as simple as that. The thing that worries me, however, are Wycombe and Nottingham Forest, the 2 sides that we really struggled against when we went to their respective places. We ground out a 1-1 draw. I think it was against Wycombe. Yeah. They were very lucky to have not won that game. I think Akin Fenner had a massive chance in that game.
And we were really under the cosh. They had a goal ruled out, didn't they? And it
they did. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it should have been ruled out. Foster again. Oh, it was nervy times again that night. Oh God. I mean, it was. We look at. I think we look at the Nottingham Forest game again. That was absolutely atrocious on every single level. I'll be honest with you, but you look at the fixtures that we've got coming up this month in March. Wycombe, Nottingham Forest, Cardiff away, Rotherham away, Birmingham at the Vic. How many of those sides have we beaten convincingly this season?
Well,
and the answer is no. The answer is 0. The answer is 0 because we beat Rotherham 2-0. We were 2 up inside 15 minutes, and then we did absolutely nothing in the second half. Birmingham City away was one of the worst away performances I've seen this season. Yeah, we got the win. Troy got the pen. Great, but we were rubbish.
So is that affecting your confidence going into the next few games, Shane? Are you now a little bit disheartened, or is it just one result?
I am very confident for games at the Vic. I'm confident about this week. I think we are going to bounce back. I think in previous moments this season, when we've lost a big game, we've kind of bounced back. We've gone on a bit of a run. I think when we lost to Swansea, we went, 2 or 3 games, I think it was unbeaten, beating Huddersfield. I think we beat Barnsley as well in that period. Yeah. I'm confident about the 2 games coming up this week. The Nottingham Forest game, I think, is very different to the Wycombe one. I think with the quality that we have, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, with the quality that we have in that squad, even with the odd few changes that we might want to make because of fatigue, etc., a couple of them are going to be imposed. Gosling will come in for Chalobah. I expect Stipe to come in for João Pedro. I don't think we'll necessarily see Zinchenko in for Sema. I don't think we'll see that. I want to see it. I don't think we will. I feel like we should have enough to beat Wycombe. I wouldn't say it needs to be a convincing win. We just have got to get a win at the moment. We've just got to get the 3 points. If it's a 2-0 win, fine. We're not at this. I'm not really in the market now for a great performance. I don't really care. The goals have got to come. the points have got to come. It's just as simple as that now, right? Nottingham Forest is a completely different entity. We're live back on Sky again, and the focus is going to be on them, isn't it? Because they've got Glenn Murray, they've got James Garner, a lot of confidence. He scored in the East Midlands derby on Friday night. He's gonna have a huge amount of confidence, and Glenn Murray.
Point to prove as well.
They've
both
got
of
a
them,
massive
particularly
point to prove.
Glenn.
And do you know what? And do you know what?
Glenn.
With Glenn Murray as well. We look at our centre back situation. I look at some of our problems from set pieces. It's ideal for them. Really, they've got the players that can really hurt us. And all right, it wasn't a particularly inspiring game when we went to the City ground, but they could quite easily turn up in front of the cameras, and they could kind of pull our pants down in some respects, and we really don't want that. This week has got to be negotiated with 6 points. I then look ahead to Cardiff away. I think you said it on the match preview, that I think is our toughest match. For me, that is our toughest game this month. Cardiff, oh my God, Mick McCarthy has produced nothing short of a Herculean effort to turn things around there. And he's done very well. Cardiff are a great side. And guess what? They're one of the sides to beat us at Vicarage Road this season. Though they've beaten us at Vicarage Road, QPR have beaten us at Vicarage Road. Cardiff are going to be very, very tricky opponents. And I'd almost go as far as to say now that game could, as I think that game's going to be our toughest of this month. Rotherham and Birmingham should really be negotiated much easier. Birmingham, I think, are in a big spot of bother down there at the bottom. Aitor Karanka, I think his job is on the line. They may have won yesterday, but I still think there are clouds hanging over him. But we're coming towards the business end now. Once we finish this month, once March is over with, we're in the last 2 months. And we've got to start getting the results. I do not want to be sitting, against Rotherham away, having gone a goal up or two, rather than get back into it and I'm panicking. Because that's not going to end well. Either one or two things is going to happen now. We're either going to go on a great run and we're going to see 5 matches and we're going to maybe see 3 or 4 wins this month. I'm not sure we're actually going to beat Cardiff, if I'm being perfectly honest. Right now, I think the weekend leading up to that game, I might be slightly more confident, but right now, I can't see us getting a result against Cardiff, personally. I just think they're in a better run of form than we are. But the 3 home games, we must be trying to get, we must simply get 9 points.
Yeah.
Wickham, Nottingham Forest, Birmingham, must. Rotherham is a game that we should win. Away from home, we're really not impressing anyone away from home at the moment. Our away form is still such a problem. I feel like teams kind of prey on that a little bit as well. Bournemouth knew it coming into the game yesterday. They knew, they're a good side. Yeah, they picked up form and they're the favourites going into it. But what can we do to rattle them on our home patch? We saw what they did.
Well, we won the 2 games before, didn't we, Shane? And I personally thought we turned a corner. Maybe I got a little bit ahead of myself, actually. I thought we turned a corner with our away form because Preston, regardless of I think they're a decent team, but the pitch was, I know I don't want to keep bringing it back to the pitch, but it was difficult conditions. They were very direct. They played a 5 at the back. It was difficult to break down. You then go to Blackburn away, where it was a difficult sort of game where, again, soft pitch, the ball was not moving great. But they were a lot more expansive. So you had 2 ends of the spectrum, really, in how 2 teams set up. And I thought the way we beat both of the teams, I thought, you know what? Right, okay, this could be it for us now with the away form. Yeah. So are we maybe, in terms of this away form, because it's been an issue throughout this season, us not really being able to put a good run together. We play 17 away games, Shane, picked up 22 points. Which, if you're looking at the away form table, it'd be 2, 4, 6, 8, 9th in the table, which was a lot lower. So it's improved. So are you of the opinion that we have started to turn a corner, or are you still of the opinion that that the next few games will actually tell us if we've turned a corner?
I think Cardiff City away will tell us if we've turned a corner. If I'm being honest with you, that is the landmark game, I think, this month. I saw a comment in the chat earlier, which I think you brought up, is the top 2 still on? Well, we'll find out after Cardiff City away. I said it, if anyone is keeping track. I did say at the end, one of the first ones, we can look at the end of February and see where our automatic promotion push and whereabouts we really are. I said Bournemouth was a humongous game. We had to win that, in all honesty. Yet again yesterday, we were helped out by results elsewhere. A hat tip must go to our man, Nigel Pearson.
King Nige.
King Nige. Thank you, man. And I'm genuinely happy as well the fact that we're not playing Bristol City again, because I think they could make a very tough game for us. Really, fair play to Nigel Pearson because that result yesterday was massive. It keeps Swansea below us when they really should have gone ahead of us. I want to keep a flame burning for automatic promotion. I really do. I feel like other teams will have their wobbles. Absolutely. We know this division. Nothing can be taken.
It's nothing strange, is it? We know what it's like.
Come off it. We all know what's going to happen on Wednesday night. Wycombe Wanderers are going to turn up at the Vic and they're going to play for a draw. We absolutely have to go out there and just do what we know. Do what we know this side can do. We've seen it against Bristol City. We've seen it against so many sides this season where we've taken the game to them. We did it against Blackburn as well until that error. We've got to do that in the next two. Cardiff, as you say to me, is the big one in regards to turning the corner on the form. We have to go and beat an in-form side. Rotherham away is different. They're fighting for their lives down there. But the teams fighting for their lives, they can sometimes be the ones to pull out all the stops in their performances. Cardiff is the big one, as I say. And that, I think, is the game that I'll look at afterwards and think, if we won it and we've beaten both Wycombe and Nottingham Forest, I'll come off the back of that and I think, okay, maybe we are seriously looking at an automatic promotion push this season. Although, knowing my luck, we're going to be finishing third and we'll be playing Bournemouth in the playoff final. And
I saw a comment from Tom on the back of the net saying, "See you at Wembley."
Yeah. And
I tell you what, Sam. Sorry, comment.
From a lot of the nicer Bournemouth fans on there, I got a few messages off them, because I've had a lot of lovely run-ins with their fans down the years, of course. I am probably their pantomime villain in some respects, but I saw a few of them saying, "Do you know what? It was a very competitive game," and they honestly, I think one fan who did message me in a bit more depth to be like, if this is the start of something for us, then we're almost certainly going to see you in the playoff final because. For them, it was a big win. They were challenged against Cardiff before the weekend, stole themselves into the playoffs. You've got Middlesbrough in there as well. Bournemouth had to win that, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was a Watford-Bournemouth playoff final. I, for one, hand on heart, right now, I saw this comment go around on Monday, of course, as the new restrictions were kind of, and a new roadmap and all that stuff was all revealed by the government and all that. Oh, dear me. Oh, dear, thank you. Oh, dear me. I do not. Oh God, my heart rate will be non-stop if we're allowed into Wembley to watch a playoff final. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? I mean, let's be honest. I would have been to a grand total of 3 matches if that is something. And if I'm able to get tickets, by the way, as well, because I'll be honest with you, the reason why I didn't want that, I saw someone. I think I saw somebody, one of the many legends that I follow, sent out a tweet to be like, would you rather go up automatically or go to the playoffs and you're guaranteed to win? I'm like, automatic.
I think that was Sam, actually. I think that was Sam
Uko. Shout out to Sam.
Big up Sam. We love Sam.
And I remember actually responding to that being like, nah, it's got to be automatics all the way. Why? Because the playoffs are going to be stress. Yeah. I'll need a heart bypass afterwards. And more importantly than that, the carnage to get tickets for 10,000 fans. If you're one of the 10,000 fans, it will be like Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory. If I was to get a ticket, but imagine though, right? Okay, we all get, a few more fans.
It was his tweet, by the way. It was his tweet.
Oh, yes, Sam. A few more fans are able to get yourself to the Vic. Then imagine the third game you go to, or the second game, or for sometimes it might even be the only game they get to is a playoff final at Wembley, and it's a team like Bournemouth or someone. Can you imagine the heart-stopping drama? Do you know what?
Oh, no.
I don't want to do it.
No, Shane, I'm going to be honest, mate. It's making me feel a little bit sick. Before we wrap up, guys, we're just going to have a little look through your comments. I think it was a really good comment from Sam, actually, that I saw. Here we go. Cardiff away reminds me a lot of Borough at home in the last promotion season. We'll decide if we can push, I reckon. Nick says, let's hope Norwich beat Brentford in the week. Right now for second place, Norwich are virtually up. I think Bristol City actually have got Bournemouth in the week.
Yeah, I think if Norwich win that, they can basically pop open the champagne corks. I don't want to speak too prematurely. Anything can happen. They could go off a massive slide. But again today, against Wycombe today, kind of like a bit of a blueprint as to, kind of what I do, like a bit of a squad report, looking at teams that we are due to play. Wickham played all right in that game, in all fairness, and it was 2 deflected goals. I think Pookie had one. Adam Ider, I think, scored. I think the goalie for Wickham spilled it. He then scored 2 very lucky goals for Norwich, but you need that kind of luck. And I think if they're winning midweek, I think they'll be doing us a favour. I think the title, sadly, is now out of our grasp. You know, I don't like to concede. I always want it to be that kind of thrilling finish. Yeah, but I feel like if Norwich were to beat Brentford, they'll be doing us a favour, and I think they can start opening the champagne corks, start popping the champagne corks, really. And
someone else who can do us a
thing for us.
Favour, as you mentioned.
Brentford, sorry, yeah, go on, no, that's fine.
Sorry, no, and another team that could do us a favour is Agent Pearson.
Nigel Pearson.
It needs to beat Bournemouth in the week.
I don't know if anyone knows how many times did Bristol City play some of our promotion rivals this season. There must be a few.
Okay, here we go. Bournemouth.
Yep.
And Brentford.
Oh.
And Blackburn, they're kind of playoffs, but I think, let me just double check. Blackburn are further down than I thought. It's my bad. So the 2 automatic promotion push teams or playoffs around that mark, Bournemouth and Brentford. They have Bournemouth next, Bristol City, and then they have Brentford on the last game of the season.
Oh my God. They have Brentford on the last game of the season.
Chris Kamara, there's been a goal at Ashton Kent. Nigel Pearson's gone crazy.
Oh my God, that's going to be mental, isn't it? I mean, imagine we're going to be watching the game against Swansea. I mean, that's a massive game in itself, isn't it? I mean, we've not even spoken about that. We're looking at the last game of the season. Watford Swansea. That I've already seen comments. Watford Swansea will decide who goes up automatically. Someone's already said it. Someone actually thinks the person he will remain anonymous just in case people start outing him for the prediction that I gave on his behalf. But I've seen that one person says Brentford will be decided to kind of slip away slightly, and it will be us versus Swansea for the automatic promotion spots. Bristol City for a late run towards the playoffs. Oh God, imagine. And then everything gets twisted, and we end up playing King Nige in the playoff final.
Oh my goodness!
That? Oh,
I tell you what, Shane,
coming out with his Bristol gilet on, like just standing there like his hands on it, like some sort of like half human, half horse god, sort of like kind of thing. And then when we go dancing to, I don't know, some sort of like great 80s pop music song.
I tell you what, Shane, if we do get promoted, that first night out, I mean, would be absolutely incredible, unbelievable.
Cannot wait.
We got one last comment. Harry Newman, I've just seen it up on the screen. If we get 6 points this week, I will be here same time next week on Sunday and donate in capital letters a substantial amount of money to the channel. Shane and Jacob, I am a man of my word. He also goes on to say, I really hope I'm back here next Sunday, seeing you guys smile a lot more with money better off. Gonna be honest, Harry, we don't want the donation, but I tell you what, let's compromise it. If we get 6 points this week, donation to charity.
Yeah.
That would be a lovely touch. So 6 points by the next Sunday night with Shane, a donation to charity. I think that's a good deal, mate, if you're up for that. Obviously, completely up to you how much money you want to donate, but it does say substantial, so I don't know.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think that would be a lovely touch. And that's where we're going to wrap it up today, guys. Shane, thank you so much for coming along today, mate. It's always a pleasure having you on. You've put a smile on my face after what was a frustrating afternoon yesterday. I think a lot of Watford fans felt the same. So thank you so much for joining me, mate. Always a pleasure. And thank you to everyone who watched today. I mean, there was absolutely loads of you and loads of you getting your comments asked as well. So if you did enjoy, please do leave a like on the video, comment down below in the chat what you made of it, and make sure you go and follow Shane on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to chat to Shane, drop him a message. We've got a lot of love in the comments. Much love to Shane.
Oh, thank you, lads.
Quality stream again. Love that. Oh, thank you so much, Mike. Andrew, really do appreciate it, guys. Have a fantastic week. We'll be back for a lead up to the Wickham game on Wednesday. As Nick says, cheers, boys. Keep the faith and come on you on it. Shane, can you do a come on you on it?
Yeah.
Come on you on it.